does any of it, how quickly he seems to have picked things up and how calm he stays back there, any of it come as any of a surprise?
It's for a freshman, it's all a surprise. You know he's got arm talent. You know he's got something about him. But, you know, a freshman coming out there, you just don't know how they're going to react in a game. You know, the second half against Stony Brook, I guess it was, or is that what it was? Hampton. Second half against Hampton, and you know he did a nice job. And then coming in this week, doing a great job. I mean, he made some mistakes, just like freshmen will do, but he made some outstanding throws and found some open people that probably weren't in the first read. So he's got something about him. But you know, we had him in camp. And actually, our quarterback coach, Billy Koch at the time, wasn't here. He was at a wedding. And we watched old Cam and came back and told Billy, yeah, we're going to take this kid. He was really good in camp.
What does having that position somewhat settled, it's never guaranteed, one play away, but how much does it settle the whole team? And not just that, but coming back and winning the way you did last week, has this team found a groove?
Well, I think, you know, Cam's going to start this week, and he's got to play well. Kyle's back to being healthy, and Kyle will be the backup right now. I'm sure he's not satisfied with that, but it is what it is, and a guy plays like that, I mean, you're going to keep riding him, but Cam has to continue to play well. He has to continue to take care of the football. He can't throw interceptions, but you know, we think right now, you know, we got some good quarterbacks that are healthy, that can play and help us win.
No less an authority than Coach Tarrant told us about all the transfers that Rhode Island has as he was doing his research on your opponent this week. I mean, that's one way to go about building a roster, but how do you go about competing against and preparing for such a roster?
Well, I'll start by saying Coach Tarrant is a living legend and a miracle, because you know, he's whatever in the 90s and can drive. He is sharp as a tack. He knows our football team. He's got a great eye for plays, football, talent. He emails me every Monday and kind of gives his assessment, and I'll email him back and either agree with him or not, but most of the time I do agree with him. But I don't even know. You started with Coach Tarrant, but
just
transfers.
Transfers.
You know, with the transfer stuff, you know, we're never going to be, you know, to the 17, 18 type of transfer mentality. It's always going to be, we're going to go out and get our high school kids, and we got a number that we're going to get, and it's always going to be 14, 15, 16. And then based on how many fifth-year guys come back, how many sixth-year guys come back, that's based on, all right, now we'll take 3, 4, 5 transfers. I think we took 5 last year. So that's kind of the way we're working it. It's not, all right, we're not going to recruit freshmen. Let's just go out and just find as many transfers as we can. And there's nothing wrong with doing it the way Rhode Island's doing it or Colorado's doing it. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, that's the decision you guys that they make. You know, I want to build it with high school players as much as I possibly can. So, you know, it's neither way is one way is not right and the other way wrong, and vice versa. So, you know, I don't even know. I guess Coach Tarrant knew how many transfers they had. I had no idea.
But you don't play them every year, so you're preparing for what you see in front of you anyway. But how can you tell that they have a little bit more experience from those players, or not really?
No, you know, a lot of those guys were on the team last year. It wasn't like they brought in, you know, 6 or 7 new transfers that, you know, that you didn't know about. Most of the guys that have transferred that are competing and really helping them win and playing well are guys, transfers that had been there for a couple years. For example, the quarterback, he's on his 3rd year. They got a wideout on his 3rd year, another wideout 2nd year. So they've been there for you know, at least into one season. So there's not a ton that like a new face, you know, a transfer came in and filled that spot and he's a great player or whatever. I'm sure they have it, but a lot of them are guys that have been in the program.
What jumps off the tape at you when you look at this year's team, and so you'll have to be ready for it?
Well, the first thing is the wideouts. They're big. I mean, most just about all. They got 3, 6'3", 210 to 215, and one's 220. Great ball skills. they're going to be hard to defend. They can go up and get the football. Quarterback's a 7th-year guy. You know, he was a 4-star coming out of high school and started at Maryland for 2 years, and he's an excellent football player. Not running quite as much. You know, he was a dual threat coming into Rhode Island and not running as much, but throwing it. And up front, they're pretty good. Defensively, they're pretty similar to us and what they want to do. You know, just across the board, they kind of look like us as far as talent-wise. Semi kind of scheme. They do a little bit more than we do, but you know, they're gonna be a huge challenge.
We knew that they were going to try to come and gadget us a little bit more. We were more focused in on our assignments, and then when they couldn't do that, we were able to just lock up what we had to lock up, and everything else did itself.
Their quarterback was limping around a lot. Do you guys notice that? And it's like, I mean, you don't want a guy to be hurt. I get it, but you know, like, hey, maybe he's not going to be as mobile. We can get.
Yeah, well, we saw him. He had his ankle wrapped up. They were showing it on the jumbotron that he had a little tape around his ankle. So once we knew that, we knew he wasn't going to be as mobile. And then later on in the game, they brought the other quarterback in who's a little bit more, but run around more. But when a quarterback's hurt like that and he can't really move, you just want to bring pressure after him, as you know he can't run.
Talk a little about your season and how you've progressed as part of that linebacker room.
At the beginning of the season, I was starting and everything, but I think Coach Wood, he told me that we probably got some other guys who could play in that position, and we could use you more on the defensive end side. So I was like, I'll do anything to make the team win, go out at defensive end, and then last week, go out and get 2 sacks. So anything to make the team win, I'm happy with.
How much more settled does this entire team feel after going through what you went through just in the first quarter against Maine and coming back and being able to pull that out?
Yeah, I think we're as a defensive unit and as a team, I think we're all like just really settled in right now. I think we know what each side of the ball got to do. I think we know we can play to our strengths, and I think we're like really settled into the season now. It's about Game 5, and I think we're ready to make a push for whatever we have to do to make this season a great season. I've never played there. I know some of the guys here on the staff never played here, but each week it's not really about where we play. We could play here, we could play up in Stony Brook, we could play anywhere. It's all about us. It's all about Richmond.
What have you seen from Rhode Island? 6th-year quarterback, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So you got a veteran guy back there you're going to deal with.
Veteran guy, you know, he's a little bit older. He can run, but since he's a little bit older, he probably doesn't want to run as much. You usually see him on film sliding this year, so we got to keep him contained. He got a good arm, but we should be able to lock everything down on the defensive side.
Mindset pretty much every week is now a playoff week for the Spiders.
Every week's a playoff week. It was like that before, too. It's all about us, and every week we just got to execute at our highest level.